Hello everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today on Rethink Retail. This is the first episode that we are doing here, and we have with us JP Shukla, who is the founder and CEO of One India Family Mart, a leading fashion retailer for like tier two cities, and Bharat in the true aspiration is what we like to call it. JP has been, I mean, I've been knowing JP for almost over 2 years now, and it's always lovely speaking with him because he's that one guy you can always go to whenever you're down. He'll give you something back in return that would really ignite all your you can say thought process cells in your brain, and you would surely come up with something more motivating. So he definitely is one of those people I reach out to whenever things are not going well, and like 100% of the times I've come back like with a lot more aspiration and like cheered up for sure. So that's the agenda, which is why we wanted to start with JP, because considering the times, I think he's one of the best guys who can cheer all of us up. And I mean, I'm sure his business is also massively hit. And I'm sure he's doing things to keep his employees, etc., up and running. But I think very, very positive person, one of the most positive people I've ever known in my life, and has successfully worked at many other companies and has been running One India Family Mart, which is a fashion retailer for tier two towns for a long time now. So, hello, JP. Thanks a lot for taking time. I can totally understand how busy you are. So, welcome.
Thank you, Avnav. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you everybody for the participation. And it's a pleasure that you have invited me. So please go ahead. And I think you said that word busy nowadays. I think that's a very precious word at this point of time. Yes, to a certain extent, people are, but it will always depend how your business way forward is phasing out. But yes, we are busy trying to frame that new which is going to happen post COVID, and I think this is going to continue for at least my assumption is 6 to 9 months. And let us all hope for the best. Thank you, Avinav. Thank you, everybody.
Cool. So JP, basically we did a quick survey and we have a few questions from audience, and I have written down a list of questions myself. I have around 15 questions. You can obviously the best part of you is you give long answers and very, very interesting anecdotes with your answers. So feel free, no pressure. Let's try to cover as much as possible. If we can't, then no problem. That's perfectly fine. So I'll quickly jump into the questions and the things we want to know from you. First one,
Right.
how badly? I mean, you can just be as open and as candid you want to be. How badly has the business been hit because of COVID?
Hope my bankers are not online, right? No, but I yes, we have been complete shut since 22nd of March. I think that was the first day when the lockdown started, probably. So, and till 23rd of May, we were not able to open even one store, largely because we are largely into non-essential categories. So we were not permitted to operate any stores any which ways or anywhere in the country. May typically we started operating 8 stores, and which was also on and off. You were allowed to open alternate days, 5 hours a day, without an air conditioning. I mean, so depending on all local, advisories which we need to follow. And similar story first till 8th of June. Post 8th June, we are now almost able to open 67 store as of today, and out of 90 stores, 32 stores what we have.
Mhm.
And still Jharkhand is not allowed to open any stores till 30th of June. I mean, say the fashion category and those categories are not allowed at all. And a couple of states in Northeast is also not allowing stores to open.
Mhm.
So we are hoping, that we should be able to, and there are a couple of stores which are in the COVID zone, or probably we are next to a COVID hospital or something of that sort. So this week we hope that we would be able to open another 5 of them, but 15 of them for sure no, because it is in either Jharkhand or in states where the permissions is still not granted as yet. So that's the story for us. And to be precise, as soon as we opened up post 8th, largely, a large portion of our store was opened after 8th of June. The first week sales were, to be precise, were quite encouraging.
Mhm.
But what we felt was, yes, the kids category and the Men's next to essential categories, that means the innerwear, the bundis or the half pants. I think these were the categories which started doing very, very well initial first week. And second week, we are seeing a comparative low of around 10 to 15% vis-a-vis the first year, largely because we feel that most part of the essential buying is over. And another factor could be is that we had a lot of marriages before 15th of July. And now the next marriage date, largely I'm talking about the eastern part of the country, Bihar, UP and Jharkhand. And I think now the next date for marriage is 28th and 29th of July. So we can probably look at some spot end this week or early next week. So that is what we are in terms of business.
Okay. And how have the footfalls been? And what's your expectation going forward?
See, honestly speaking, if you compare to last year, we are averagely at 60% of last year.
Okay.
And similar is the footfall, but I think the conversion rate has gone a little better. I think those holiday shoppers or probably window shoppers are out of scene at this point of time. It is only the serious buyer who's coming in, and that too earlier it was the entire family which used to come out to shop things. Now it is largely restricted to probably one or two member of the family, and we basically operate in tier 2, tier 3 towns or the actual Bharat of India, or actual Bharat of the continent, sorry. So I think there, any which ways, the female crowd moves out a little lesser in comparison to the men folk, and which is even lesser at this point of time.
Okay. Okay. I
So,
understand.
but to be very precise, I think people are sticking to the essentials or next to essentials. Essentials is probably the food first, and then it is next to essentials. And in the second week, we have seen some spot in the men's round neck T-shirt, the half pant, pajamas, largely the casuals. So I look at you; you are also wearing a round neck T-shirt. So that is
Yeah.
something which is selling at this point of time. Formals are strict no, and even the denims are on a very, very downside. I mean, so there's hardly any buyer for the denims. So that's something about us.
Interesting. And one more question related to that is how do you expect the new normal to be? What is the role of e-commerce? How critical you see that becoming over the period of time? Do you think the remaining 40%, which is not coming to the stores, they can potentially be engaged via e-commerce?
Uh, Absolutely yes. I think the value players like us, we have never thought of on those lines because we always felt the first experience which we get to give to these kind of customers was that they should first get used to shopping at large malls, air conditioned malls. So I think that was first luxury where we started from. But today I feel yes, there's a time when we now have to reach the customer with some or the other medium. So whether it is through a partner portal or probably it is through your own omni channel, it could be either ways, or you'll have to probably innovate ways where you can finally go to the doorsteps of the consumer.
Right, right. Absolutely. Uh, right now, you must have seen, right? A lot of tech companies, startups, and a great chunk of retailers, folks like Wow Momos, Domino's, everybody started doing grocery delivery in some or the other aspiration. I mean, for some of them are continuing, some of them have shut it down. What's your take on that? Did you ever feel like doing that while the whole lockdown was going on?
Abhinav, very honest, if you take, if you look at the mix of stores what we have, I think these are the places where actually grocery grows.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
don't find that there's enough opportunity for this model, largely grocery or FMCG or the milk, thing. So it is. I don't feel there's any opportunity of this sort. But yes, we can look at probably distributing urea, khad, and all this kind of a thing. Probably services a bit. So this is something. These are the things which we are planning to explore, and we would love to take some to our store, but obviously not the grocery thing for sure.
okay, okay. Uh, and since you guys have always been dealing with the real customer of True India, of tier two, which we call Bharat, how different are those customers in your aspirations? What are the things they want to spend money in? What are the things they will just never spend money in? And what are the other consumer behaviors which are very different from
So there are two situations, pre and post COVID. I don't know which one you want to address first.
both? I mean, whichever we can start with
So,
pre. Yeah.
so pre-COVID, I think the tier 2 and 3 customer is not very different than what we see in tier 1, largely because I think with the internet and the TV soaps and movies getting live pan India at one same point of time. So largely being 80% apparel, I think the fashion aspiration is all very similar across the country at this point of time. So if you see Mr. Salman Khan wearing a hoodie T-shirt, so I think that is something which everybody aspires. But I think the only difference is he would be wearing an Esprit or a DSQ T-shirt, hoodie T-shirt. So and probably we'll have to somehow replicate similar design, similar look. I mean, obviously not the similar print or the brand, but that is the aspiration of those customers, or probably the male, female folk, everybody there. They just want to be as fashionable, as stylish, as the urban. And talking about post-COVID, I think that community is looking at our ASP of the garment, which is any which ways on a much lower side. So I think they are restricting themselves only to essentials, or probably next to essentials is something which they are more focused at this point of time. And since we are hardly 10, 12, 15 days old in terms of opening the all our stores, or probably large portion of our stores, so I think we are yet to discover. But yes, truly being on the first outcome, or probably first understanding what we have learned in these couple of days is that kids is doing quite well for some or the other reason. Kids business.
Okay. Any reason, any intuition why so?
I think kids might have grown fat or something,
Yeah, most likely.
So that could be one reason. And second is, I think the summer buying for the family was long due, because I think as soon as the Holi went off, so before the actual summer or the festival, which is marriage in the eastern part of the country, which was supposed to kick start from 15th of May, but we went on lockdown, 15th of April onward. So we went lockdown late March.
Yeah.
So I think all that thing was due. So probably that's the spend which is happening.
Interesting. Yeah. And beyond that, you have the best understanding of the pulse of the tier 2 customer, right? So what are the other categories that you saw them investing earlier on, and would you see them continuing to invest on as compared to the other tier 1 city customers?
See, to be very honest, if you take urban example, I think we all have a cupboard full of garments, and even if we don't press or get them laundried for a month's time, we will still survive.
Yeah.
But probably that's not the scenario with the customer in CD cities. They are probably living with 4 or 5 pairs of dresses or shirts or trousers or something. So I think whatever is necessary will not get affected in the longer run. Obviously, at this point of time, with job loss and probably whatever getting not paid for last 2 months, 3 months, and a lot of uncertainties around, I think they will be slightly conservative, probably for more 1 quarter. Trying to be very need based or something. Which is actually required. Probably that is something which they will step out and buy. But post a quarter, I think, I must say the government and the Met is predicting a healthy monsoon this year, and probably a higher MSP for the crops which they'll be selling. So I think this will provide enough liquidity, probably in the rural, to give support to all this. And post September quarter, we are looking at a healthy recovery.
Okay. If that happens, that literally would be the best scenario. Are you expecting like 100% of the footfall, say by September, or it would still be like 60-20%?
To be very honest, from today till March, we should be looking at a plus minus 20% degrowth vis-a-vis last year. So that's the max, or subject to there's no second round of COVID coming in, or probably things going from bad to worse. So that could be an exception. Otherwise, we are quite hopeful.
Okay. Changing gears a bit to a different tangent. I personally have visited your office like a few times and really loved the way you have built it. Like one of the coolest retailer office I've ever been to. You have a TT table, a pool table, and so on. People are hanging out, sipping coffee. So I think it's a great culture that you've built there. What is your take on the mental health of your employees right now? I mean, how stressed is everyone? Are you guys back in full strength to office? If not, what's the plan? How are you guys coping up?
Uh, Now, to be very honest, I think we don't want to risk our employees coming to office. We all know that at this point of time, Delhi situation is really critical. I think probably we are second or third in the race in the country as far as the COVID cases are concerned. So we are operating only 3 days a week, and that too with hardly 30-40% of the people what we usually we had to had in our office. So that's the most modus operandi, and rest of the people who are staying back are doing work from home. This is another new which has just started with the value retail thing. We never thought of I mean say earlier in my career when we used to hear people that they work from home. Indeed, I was the one who used to wonder, how can somebody work from home? But
Yeah.
last 60 days, I think that is something which we have been doing, courtesy Zoom, Google app, and all the other, Skype. So I think we have been running our show largely on these platforms. So I think this is another new which is happening. But to be very honest, as you said rightly about our office, and with the facilities whatever we have inside our office, we all love to spend time inside the office. You know how difficult it can be at times at home for continuous 60 days.
Yeah.
So I think everybody was quite relieved when we dropped that mail saying that we are opening early June. So I think people are more than happy to come and join office, but then we kind of restricted from our side saying that whosoever is coming through a public transport, or who has probably gone back to their hometown, or probably gone back to with the family, they can probably work from home rather than attending the office. So that's what you are following. I'm saying, and this is something which we love to continue till 30th of this month, and then let's see what is the new normal after that.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, how do you plan to replicate all that fun activities at home? Like, have you guys tried anything good and bad experiences there? How do you engage people at large?
So we have this process of an on call where we have created different groups. Not that I would say people. I think personally, whatever little feedback I have got from my people, they are sick of staying at home at this point of time. So even we are struggling to how to entertain them. But then whatever little work we are doing, close to 3-4 hours, we are on the calls with some of the other department, interdepartment, senior juniors put together with frontliners. We try and engage as much as we can, because I think there's new normal every day. I mean, so you predict something and then it is something else probably in just next 7 days time.
Yeah.
So the team is always on the toes, trying to figure out what is selling, what is not selling, what needs to be cancelled, what needs to be reordered, how do we need to plan, what lesser in comparison to last year, what merchandise categories not to do. So these are the small findings. Like, to be precise, there's another finding. The sanitizers is one category which has started selling very, very well. I mean, so this is a
Yeah.
complete new for everybody.
Yeah.
Mask probably is the other category which will probably start selling very good. But similarly, nobody ever thought of that the lipstick sales will go down. Because if all the beautiful looking females are with mask, they will not apply lipstick anymore.
Yeah.
So these are the learnings which we are getting every day. And for sure, I think the universe knows the travel bag and luggage is not going to sell at any cost.
Yeah.
There has been a serious dip in our back to school category, because I think the schools across the country has taken a call not to open before 15th August or something of that sort.
Yeah.
So these are the learnings. There's new every day. Like, initially we thought that kit would be selling like an hot cake,
Yeah.
but nobody ever came to inquire that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. So, JP, I have a few more questions. Let's take a
Yeah,
pause. I have
please,
a
please,
quick
please, please.
5 question rapid fire for you. Okay.
Mhm.
So, would love to understand, and you can be as quick as possible in responding. Okay. So, you can. So, the first question there is, say, going forward, what would you prefer for your team? Work from home or office?
Mixed approach depending on how COVID behaves. I think we have been a physical connect company, so we want to see each other, probably sit across the table and discuss things. But we are more than flexible depending on how the situation behaves.
Got it. Uh, what do you do in your pastime?
The pastimes are over for us. I think we are already straight to on to business. But then I love spending time with my kids. I'm very fond of TLC, so I'm a foodie. So
Yeah, you
that is
used
what
to
I do.
travel a lot. I remember you telling
Yeah.
me stories about travel.
So,
How are you going
so
to
that's
catch up
so
on that?
that's the other thing which I'm missing. I don't know. So I have to probably get into a new where I would love to do a virtual traveling. I don't know how pleasant it's going to be. We can always try that.
Yeah, surely. I'm sure. Got it. Your favorite movie?
Sholay.
Oh, wow, still. Oh,
Yes.
nice. Your favorite song?
There is I mean say you'll be surprised to know that I have heard this song 150 times in last probably 30 odd days. So anytime I'm down walking, I'm only hearing this song.
Mm-hmm.
This is for everybody. Go to YouTube and type this word called Mumal, Mumal.
Okay, okay.
So you will not, I mean, say until unless you are a Marwadi, you will not understand the wordings.
Okay.
Or then there is a mix of Marwadi and Hindi. So you will obviously understand the Hindi version of it. I mean, say the Hindi portion of it, but
Mm-hmm.
not the Marwadi. But you will love the music. Just try it out.
Sure. I'll probably keep it open right away. That's interesting. Okay. Your favorite book?
I'm not a great reader, but then I, last book which I was reading was Out of Box Thinking.
Okay. Got it. Your favorite city? Are you happy with Delhi or alternates?
No, I'm born brought up in Calcutta, so I think a portion of my heart is always there. So
Okay.
because that's the place you have your school friends and buddies and everybody. So, but yes, Delhi is quite. I would say I always wanted to move to north, so which I did, but I still feel that 25% of my heart still is there, lying in Calcutta.
Wow. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, you must be missing all the mishti, right? You just don't get anything to go.
I'm a non-veg lover
Yeah, even that.
also, and I think
Yeah.
Calcutta happens to be a mecca for non-vegetarian food.
True, true. Absolutely. Got it. Okay, cool. Let's come back to the other ones. So I think we're getting a few audience questions as well. So maybe towards the last 10 minutes, we'll go to them. For now, I mean, one of the most critical things that I'm asking people right now, right? And you can be as open and candid as you want. What is Atmanirbhar Bharat for you? Like, how do you really take that? How do you plan to inculcate that in your life, in your company? And what is it that you are telling other people to do in accordance with that?
Honestly speaking, we would love to refrain anything which is probably, Chinese bought. I don't know if the raw material is from China, so I don't know whether I'll be able to sell anything if I take a pledge not to sell anything Chinese. That's a difficult question.
Yeah.
But yes, knowingly, we would love to avoid, looking at the current situation, where things are behaving. So, like as a company, as a person, I have huge respect and love for my soldiers. And whatever little I can do for them, I'll surely do. And whatever little I could boycott for them, for my country or for them, I would love to do that.
Got it, got it. But I believe most of the stuff that you guys do is fairly India specific, right? It's not like you're importing anything from there.
No, really, exactly. My dependency on import is hardly 2, 3, 4%, and which could be easily replicated here also. But then there are a lot of raw material which comes from there. The finished product would be 100% Indian, but probably the thread used, or probably the zipper used, or the embellishment used could be a produce of China. So I would love to discourage that.
Okay, sure. What do you think is the role of tech, and all the more now going forward for retailers?
See, to be very honest, I think in last 60 days, I think it was the tech which was running the show for us and the bread butter for us. And today also, looking at the current situation, the way Delhi and the country is behaving, so we plan to not meet. We used to have every week, every month, we used to have area managers meet. Every quarter, we used to have SM meet, zonal meet. So I think it is all going to be tech transformed. It is all going to be on the some interface like Zoom or a Google Duo or something of that sort.
And how prepared were you guys? Because this is something that I heard from the other people that they had never thought of. Like they will have to distribute laptops, set up the infrastructure on the laptop, etc. Most of the retailers weren't really ready for that. How ready were you guys, honestly, and how did you cope up with that?
I think we were equally as not ready as other retailers were. So we easily compete with them. But yes, I think we just had to change things equally, speedily in time. And as you said, yes, we had to buy a couple of laptops, give it to people. And since retailers are huge, people-dominated, organization. So even we have asked some of the people to take the desktop home. Unnecessary. We don't want to invest, money on the laptops, assuming that we can be normal in coming 15-20 days time.
Yeah. True. Interesting. Moving on to another angle altogether. So if suppose you were not a retailer, what would you have been doing today?
That's a very interesting question. I think I have all my life since my career start, I have only been retailer. So
Exactly.
either have been employed by a retailer, and finally I'm a retailer myself.
Yeah.
I really don't know. It has been 25 years. I have never thought of in between, but yes, initially my parents wanted me to become an civil services guy, but somehow I was only interested in denims. So this is where I land. So that's it. I have never thought of other than retailing anything else.
Any other markets you are passionate about, industries or markets? If suppose you have to invest, which other market beyond retail would you invest in?
The second passion is food. So I think that's the next passion which I love to pursue. But obviously, it has to be value.
Right.
Not a chai at 200 rupees. So chai at 10 rupees or 15 rupees max.
True.
Because I personally feel all my life I have been connected to the value thing, the masses. So I think the entire thought process is that, and I think that is where that this real country is all about.
True.
The masses, yeah. So and I think masses get easily connected with price, and with price, if you can deliver quality, I think you're just done. There's no looking back.
True. And how big do you think the masses are, and how much of that piece is uncovered, right? They say there is a like the bottom 800 million people in India which are not engaged to any of the new age technology, e-commerce they have never used, digital payments they're like slowly picking up now. So how much of that portion do you see coming alive for you guys in next 2 years? And what's the real, like, I mean, if you have to define the size of that opportunity, how would you go about doing that?
See, I think if you take today's organized retail scenario, I think it is what 7-8% to the max.
Yeah.
And then if you try and bifurcate it between urban and rural, so I think rural would be what 98% unorganized and 2% organized. So that's the kind of market what we have. And I have come across questions where people ask me why do you have so many stores in UP?
Yeah.
I'm sure you must have also asked this question. So I think Uttar Pradesh is probably the 6th largest country in the world in terms of population.
Yeah.
और end of the day कपड़ा तो आबादी पहनेगा ना, टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं पहनेगा.
Yeah.
So and same goes with Bihar, same goes with Jharkhand, same goes with Bengal. So I think if you take this 5-7 states, I think this is more than 60% of the country's population.
Yeah, that's right. Interesting. And do you see all of that? So when you say 98% is still not shopping, with modern retailers. E-commerce is not even a question to ask. Do you see all of that converting anytime soon?
No, not anytime soon. Had that 20 lakh crore reached with everybody, तो कल से हो जाता. But then I think it's taking some time. So, and I think slowly and steadily, whatever has been announced, moment people start taking benefit out of it, and probably, as I rightly said, that the MSP price set for the grains this year is much higher in comparison to whatever it was in previous years. So that will give them some money. And I think that 6,000 and 12,000 rupees installment coming into, and then Manrega, payouts being, promised a little better in comparison to what it was last year. And then second biggest opportunity, what I feel where the world feel is a disadvantage and we feel is an advantage, is that there are a lot of migration which has happened. I know they have probably lost jobs or something, but I still feel they have to consume the next two necessary categories for sure, immaterial, whether they are whichever part of the country they are in. So I think there are a few crore labor which has migrated from probably urban to rural back to their base. And that's another additional opportunity which will surely consume for us.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So I think we are kind of a retailer, or probably with a mindset where we personally feel that you have to find something good in the crisis. So I think this is another 2, 3, 4 crore people got added to our kitty of buying.
Absolutely, I think the opportunity is becoming bigger. And like there are a lot of outside India company, right? Like, I mean, I don't want to take names, but there are so many outside India companies which are also trying to focus on that particular TG. You guys have been particularly successful. The penetration you have in tier 2 as a retailer, online or offline, is significantly higher. So what do you think are the things that went well for you? And do you think there is some secret which is very India specific, only India specific companies can go and attract that consumer base, or will everyone be able to get an equal share of it?
No, see, I would say if competition builds up, or probably the MNCs comes in these areas, I think the quality of people who are serving or who are getting served will obviously improve. And to be precise, with 90% people not, they're shopping with us with or any organized retail, I think obviously we will need lot many retailers like us, much more than us, to make them push through that level that they come and shop with organized retail. So, and yes, they obviously the first mover or probably whosoever understands this market will have better understanding for sure. I think moment anybody who's able to connect with the people, their aspiration, their need, their pocket, I think there's market for everybody. I mean, so you can imagine America consuming almost 50% whatever is produced in the world with hardly 32 crore people. और 32 करोड़ तो मेरे यूपी में अकेले हैं. It is just that you need to give them that spending power, and slowly, sooner or later, I think we are inching towards that slowly.
Absolutely. And this market is I mean, earlier said that they leapfrog a lot, right? They, like, for example, they never used credit card and debit card. They're all jumping to UPI. So a lot of such leapfrogging happens. Have you particularly noticed certain behaviors, and have you ever tried to, like?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think post demonetization, probably 95% of our transaction used to happen in cash, but post demonetization, I think we are steady around that 20-25% mark, but largely debit cards, not the credit cards. So I think India is any which way is not a huge market for credit cards.
Yeah.
And but the kind of convenience what this UPI and the other payment gateways and technologies have provided, I think it is the convenience which, and but yes, to be very honest, I think this is one crowd who loves to probably experiment with anything which comes in new, for sure. So I think that is fueling all this.
Okay. And what's your take on customer loyalty? Do you see it increasing or reducing, or largely the same as compared to?
No, I think the customer loyalty is slightly gone better. I think any which ways we have a very, I mean, if you're talking about post-COVID, I think it is too less time to probably judge all that. But yes, there is a certain percentage increase in the loyalty customers. What I personally feel is कि at this point of time, the customer don't want to experiment much. उसको मालूम है कि I get this brand, this size in this particular store. He's just going and buying it out. I mean, say he doesn't want to risk himself, hopping as he used to do pro-COVID. So I think yes, and with a technology platform onboarded, so we have onboarded Capillary. I think that is helping us a lot to understand the customer behavior and all that thing. Indeed, like if you talk about pre-COVID era, we used to probably bombard with messages and ads and everything, not directly targeting RTG. But I think post-COVID, when any spend is a precious spend, so we are only targeting this set of customers who are probably ours. And it is only set of customers, our registered or the loyal set of customers, we want to inform them saying that we are open, we are hygienic, we'll take care of all other SOPs. So please come and shop. So I think post-COVID, any money spent is very, very, very diligently spent.
True, absolutely. Got it. I mean, since the time right now is very tough for everyone in the country in general, is this the toughest period for you, or have you seen much worse before and you are like absolutely ready for this?
So I'm quite young, I'm just 42, 43. So yes, obviously this is the toughest phase which I have, gone through in my life. And I'm sure, I think, way the team is there with me and the entire organization is ready to probably support whichever way the management wants. So I'm sure we'll be able to come out of this sooner or later.
Right. And did you even feel like when the last time such economic depression happened in 2007, 8, 9, did you even feel that something it may hit you like this ever again in life?
Not really, to be very honest. And I think this was very unplanned for. I remembered, when it started in China, probably as early Jan. I think none of the Indians ever thought that this is going to come to India also, right? Even Americans thought it that way, ki wo wahin tak rahega. Yeah. So I think there is new to everything. But to be very honest, we never planned, we never thought of something, this sort will happen. I mean, so nobody in the world probably.
True. And what is your advice in general for anybody operating in that particular market, whether it's a retailer or any other tech company or a payments company? What do you think are the key things to really
see? I think the first is customers were always king, and now they are kinger. I don't know if that's a wrong English. So, and I think you just need to find ways to pamper, value your customers, make them feel special. So I think everything, whatever from today onward you try and do, just think about customer. It has to be customer centric, and that's it. So whatever your customer needs for your business, just do those right things, only keeping the customer in mind.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's the single most critical piece indeed. Got it. What's the real inspiration for? I think you have told me the story, but for the sake of people here, would love to hear from you. What is the real inspiration behind One India? How did you come up with this? And where are you? I mean, if you were supposed to grade yourself on whatever you have done in the last few years, I mean, on a scale of 10, where are you as your expectations?
See, I would love to see One India is probably the best value retail chain in the country. So I think I would rather rate myself less than 50%. So it would be in your scale, it would be 4 at this point of time. So the 10 is still far off. So was 1 better or 10 better?
10 was better. Yeah.
So I'll keep myself at 4 at this point of time. And I think we really need to work very, very hard with the team to innovate product, to make my people, my customers more stylish. And to give you an example, we are so price conscious in terms that last 4 years, my average selling price has gone up by only 2 rupees. We are that conscious. So we constantly fight within ourselves saying that you can't go, higher in terms of prices. You can't leave the last year's NT prices because there has been a trend that you migrate from 99 to probably 129 the next year or probably 119 the next year, but we still try and keep that 99 thing. So there are certain inherent quality within the team which makes us which helps us grow every year.
Right. And what's the inspiration behind One India? When did you think it's the
To
best time?
be very honest, I think this is the only thing which I knew on earth. I mean, say I'm a retailer by birth, so I was not left with much of choice. But I think the aspiration was there. Yes, we should try and create a brand which should be known across the globe sooner or later, and early as possible. At least the entire country should know, and we have named the brand as One India. I mean, so by default we are the number one Indians by default. So
Right.
I think that's the inspiration.
Okay, absolutely. I'll quickly take a few questions that the audience have posted. They're on your chat as well, but I'll quickly read it out for everyone. One question says, do you expect the footfall to be back to pre-COVID times at all? What measures do you think retailers would need to take to make sure customers come back faster?
I think you just need to make them understand that you're taking all the precautionary measures required. So I think that is first, and for sure life has to come back to normalcy. But the question is how soon. I think the areas where do we operate, I think next 6 months we should be back to normal for sure.
Okay, let's really hope that happens.
And to be very very honest, that the way things have spanned out, post opening, June opening, I think we have done fairly well. So I think at this point of time also our average footfall is plus 250 per store. Obviously, it was much higher in comparison pre-COVID. Pre-COVID was much higher, largely because, but then we had a lot of window shoppers at that point of time. Our conversion rates were hovering in that 40% range, and today it is close to plus 55%. So I think that's the difference.
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll agree with you 100% on that. Got it. What's your personal biggest achievement in life? Something that you are very proud and happy about?
As you rightly said, that I have created a brand and I have created an office which you loved. So you can imagine how well I love my office, So I have done my office with a great passion, and this is a place where probably roughly I spend close to 10 hours a day. And you'll be surprised to know that in spite of we working 3 days a week, I come all 6 days.
Oh,
It's not that I don't love to be staying back at home, but I think I have stayed enough. So I think I feel like dressed up. I feel like going to the office, and I love to spend time with people around. But anyway, nowadays we don't have much of people around in the office.
yeah.
But this is something which I love, and I'm really proud of the brand which we have created.
Okay. And who are the people you look up to whenever you are, say, low in life or down? Like, how do you get all the inspiration back, put all the energy back, motivate yourself, motivate your team? I mean,
So
I'm sure
I have my guru called Mr. Ramchandra Agarwal. I don't know whether
yes,
you know him or not.
yes.
Yeah, so I think he's full of energy. Whenever I feel that I'm losing on something or probably slowing down on something, I just think of him, the way he has fought back. He has gone through a lot of ups and downs in life, and uh, back to wherever he wanted to, or probably aspiring to be much better than where he's today. So I think he's one energy which I love to follow, and I remember, and whenever I'm in a situation where I don't find answer, probably I try and think the way he should be thinking. वो इस situation में होते तो क्या करते. So that's great inspiration.
Interesting. Okay. And I mean, how often does it happen for you? Generally, you are very cheerful, but I'm sure I haven't seen the parts when you're not so. So, I mean, once in a year, how many times do you have such situations when you really feel low or down?
No count, but then rarely.
Does
So
the
I
team
am
get
one.
to know you are not up to your energy? And I'm sure they must be, because it can all be depicted from your face.
I am the wrong guy to answer that. You can probably visit office sometime, probably have an open forum or an open house and figure out. But generally not. I think we have beautiful, responsible team. People take care of their responsibilities, and it is very well defined amongst people. So there's nothing much which actually comes to my table. But in case it does, we jointly try and find out solution to every problem what we have. And I'm a firm believer of that. Every problem has a solution. It's just matter of time. You just have to do round with that problem, and you will come with a solution sooner or later.
True. Absolutely. Got it. I'll probably digress into another section altogether. So, because you have been a CEO for a very long time, you have been at leadership positions earlier in life. So, I mean, how do you look at org building? What do you think is leadership for you? What would be your advice for, say, young leaders in their career?
To be precise, I think you, as a CEO or as a leader, I think the first call what you should have in your mind is that get the right set of people for the domain and vertical, and let him do the right job. Empower him to do his bit. I think that's the perfect ladder to success. At times, being a promoter or a founding member, you personally feel that whatever you think is the right way of doing things, but it's actually not. I think when you have onboarded professionals for different domains, believe they understand much better than what you do. So it is being at the leadership position for every leaders, bigger, smaller, get the right person for that role and probably empower him to deliver. So I think that's the only mantra.
Okay. And how do you, I mean, do you at all differentiate between, say, young people or experienced people? When do you prefer whom, and how do you decide?
See, it all depends on which domain are you looking at. I mean, say, moment you're trying to hand over something which is very, very risky, you would obviously love to hand it over to somebody who is hands-on and experienced with that particular profile. But say if it is designing, I would love to have somebody who's a fresh blood. You're getting my point. Moment it comes to merchandising or probably selection of product or probably projects, these are the sections, or these are the verticals where you should always try and experiment a fresh blood or a fresh mind.
Okay. Yeah.
So we are any which way is a very young organization, except our CFO. He's the eldest in the company, I think.
Yeah, indeed. Got it. And what is innovation for you? How do you build a culture of innovation? How do you get everybody to really think out of the box at least a few times, if not all? How do you build that whole culture and spirit of innovation? Would love to. I mean, you have given me a lot of examples
See,
earlier. So,
you need to probably hear out people. We are 2,700 people organization. I think you should just lend your ears to people down the line, and believe me, you don't need to be a Newton to probably figure out what new or what innovation you need to create. You just need to listen to people down the line. They will come up with very, very innovative ideas, and you just need to cherry pick few of them, experiment it out. It works, and you float and give him that credit. I think that's how we work. See, what happens is at times we think the way we think is the only right way to do things, but believe me, it's not. Once you probably lend ears to the people down the line, probably CSS down the line, they come up with very, very unique ideas. Just to give you an example, one of our Northeast store guy, a shop floor guy, came up with this idea that whatever product we have, why don't we capture it on the WhatsApp and send it to our loyal customers of the that particular store. And believe me, he said, I know, like we have those loyal customer list with us. And he could convert a 5,000 rupees sale with one of the army guys. Because he said, I am not able to step out because of the containment and COVID, whatever it was. So I am loving all these products. Why don't you deliver that product to my place, or probably get all of them? I'll just try a few of them, and whatever I like, I'll pay you. And believe me, this was one model which was created. And now we are trying to figure out how to formalize this, And this was the idea which came from one of our CSA, probably, who's a minimum wage earner for us.
Wow, that's really amazing.
And there are thousands of ideas. Like, believe me, when as a management or as a top guys, if we feel that we are getting a blank wall, we probably just open that question in front of everybody, and we try and get feedbacks. Believe me, you get some lovely ideas.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah. I have a very similar question on that. I've been talking to retailers across over the board, and all of them have some or the other way built like a sales channel on WhatsApp. So, what is your take on that? How well have you guys leveraged it? Do you see that as a long-term trend, or is it only a short-term thing?
No, this is something which I give you as an example, is something which we are trying to experiment. Yes, our CRM partner has also given similar opportunities, but to be very honest, as an organization, we are not online ready. You're getting a point. I will say a description of our product is not precise that it could be, selected and delivered and couriered and all that thing. Unless you get that piece right, you will have a lot of returns, which will end of the day hit your bottom line.
Absolutely.
So, but to be very honest, way forward, I think since we have started operating, everything what we are trying to do way forward is going to be listing ready. Immaterial that we are going to list that on our site or probably our partner site. That is a secondary thing, or we'll try and channelize the sales through the WhatsApp channel. That is secondary. But then whatever we bring in as a merchandise is going to be listing ready.
Okay, absolutely. Got it.
And this was never required. I mean, so typically as a business model, we were a hardcore brick and mortar retailer. So, but I think last 60 days has given this innovative idea. This is the next course which we need to build or develop.
Absolutely. True. Got it. Is there a turning point in your life when, say, everything was going wrong, or more than one would love to understand and get all of them, when everything was going wrong, but you guys came out strong?
So I think I was part of Vishal Mega Mart, and we all know what happened to that brand.
Yeah.
And one fine day, I was part of their board also. And one fine day, we had to sell the company to TPG. And believe me, I will say, if you sell a brand like that, which was country's largest brand at that point of time, so you can imagine what setback you go through at that point of time. But I took it as a challenge. Tried developing a format and going back to the drawing table and everything, and we came up with this One India.
Correct. True. Any other similar examples, or at One India, anything similar?
Not as of now, I think.
Let's hope not either.
and I would love to personally thank my partner for being a support and all thick and thins, and I think he was very instrumental in pursuing me to start something of our own.
Yeah.
So I think it is all people around you, and today with all the very very learned and very hardcore professionals on board, so as an organization we want to grow from here. That's it.
True, absolutely. And on a similar note, how has the fundraising experience been for you? I mean, that's not something very natural. You have built large companies.
Honestly speaking, when we did our first fundraise in 2018, it was actually a cakewalk. We hardly met 4-5 people. And a couple of days after that, we got an term sheet from one of the potential investors. And post that, we got a couple of other offers. But then, Ravinder especially is, a man who says, if we have committed, we don't want to go back for a couple of crores.
Yeah.
So we had been partnering with Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem happens to be our investor on board. And They're lovely people. I will say they have been with us in thicks and thins. They have been supporting us. They have been, especially Mr. Arvind. He's part of our board. He's very learned gentleman. So a lot of innovative, lot of informative, lot of insight comes in terms of operational parameters. So
Got it. And how do you view both the types of capital? Like, say, you can get capital either via loans or via equity funding. How do you differentiate between the two? Which one do you particularly like more?
see, each of them has his own set of advantage and disadvantage. So fortunately, we have both of them,
Yeah.
and equally is working well for us. So, but I think the equity is more human,
Yeah.
and debt is like it's a straight line. You have to. That's it. It's a deadline.
Yeah. Correct.
So yes, I think as an entrepreneur, as an organization, one should explore equity option first, and probably the debt option second. If that's the, hope I've answered it right, or you were looking at something else.
No, largely the same. I was expecting a similar answer. So it's basically a combination, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. See, the
Got
debt
it.
has to be need based, short term, and equity obviously is long term. So I think you should try and figure out your requirement and then try and fund it with whatever best you can.
Right. Absolutely. I think we're short of time, but there are a few more questions here on the chat. If you would love to answer any of those, there's a question around supply chain technology. What is the advancement that you see? How fast would the supply chain adopt newer technologies available in the market?
See, for us, we don't feel there's going to be any difference, largely because we are a central warehouse model. Everything comes to one warehouse and it get cross-docked to different stores. But I think we would love to add a hub and spoke kind of a model in each of the states, where bulk of the consignment goes there first, and then it is distributed in small quantities or a smaller number of cartons to each store during the day itself. So that's the only difference what we are thinking of. Other than that, if you talk about ERPs, real-time tracking, everything, it is already there in place. So there's nothing new which we plan to do.
Got it. Yeah, it was fairly advanced even earlier. Got it.
And if you talk about automation at the back end and warehouse, so any capital expenditure is a straight no this year.
Yeah, obviously. Got it. Got it. Another very interesting question is, what is your decision-making framework? Like when you are really pushed against a wall to maybe take a decision which people will not like or appreciate, how do you go about that? How often does that happen?
Being at the chair where you are, where I am, you have to deal with these situations every now and then.
Yeah.
But we internally have formed a committee which is called as management committee, which is chaired by the CFO, CEO, and Ravinder, my partner. So I think wherever I feel that I have been cornered and probably not the only guy to get the answer, I try and throw it open to all these peoples, and then the majority prevails. So that's the kind of practice which we have adopted.
Okay. Okay. I think we are short of time. JP, this was a lovely session. Thanks a lot for taking time. This I really appreciate, and I'm sure the audience also enjoyed it thoroughly. One final last word that you would love to end this with.
So somebody asked me this question: if genie comes to you, what would be your, बोलते हैं ना, मांग जो भी मांगना है. So today's demand of time is that COVID, please go away. Let us all live with that earlier normal which we had, instead of reinventing a new way to live. So let's get away with this COVID thing as soon as possible, and let's be a free and a happy world.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all of us will wish that. Cool. Thanks a lot, JP. Pleasure hosting you. Thanks a lot for taking time.
Thank you. Thank you, Avinav. Thank you, team. Thanks, participant. Everybody, thank you.
Cool. Bye-bye. Thanks everyone for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.